Alan, Dillon, how you doing? It's good to talk to you again. Brings back many memories of my own career when Mayo and you were chasing that elusive Sam for many years. And I can't remember, and it was probably 2003-04 you came into the Mayo panel maybe, or?
Yeah, that's right, James. I was a minor. Probably started off at under 16 level, worked through a school of excellence, and then, got the opportunity to play minor and under 21. Played in two All-Ireland minor finals, went on then and played an under 21 final. Got the call up then in the senior panel. John Maughan was over us at that stage. And I suppose from there I continued and played over the last 15 years, retired in last November. So I suppose in them 15 years I've learned a lot, about how the game has gone from, the mid-noughties right up now to where it is, where you have, so much power, pace and athleticism in the game. You see now Dublin are at the crest of a wave of winning 5 in a row. So the game has transitioned from when I started to where it is now, very much, S&C based, a lot of technical, lot of strategies being implemented by a lot of teams. So it's interesting.
Yeah, well, I remember distinctly being there, and our backroom team was myself and a doctor. And we two in there for 4 or 5 years, and it started expanding after that. At the moment, the Doves and they're on crest of a wave, and they brought it to a very high level of professionalism. They're 22, 23 in the back room, but that's the way it goes. The one thing I'll always remember was playing. I think it was carrying the final 2004, standing beside John when you scored that goal early. And he hit me a wallop. He nearly sent me into the first side of the stadium saying, "This is our year." But sadly, we just woke the beast. How many finals, Alan, in those years between? How many finals?
Yeah, I played in 6 All-Irelands. Yeah, so, I suppose it's a big achievement. You're talking about 82,000 people in a stadium, some coliseum. So it's a magical experience. And I remember before that final, James, we were on a training camp. We actually went to Portugal for I think it was a 5-day training camp. I know you were part of it. And, that was the professionalism even back then, of bringing amateurs away, getting some warm weather training, and it was very, very enjoyable.
We'll be moving on because I remember training. We trained too hard, I thought, the first 3 days. I had a few words with John, and because it was very, very hot over there. But as I say, we came back, got to another Ireland final. And as I said, and that is now, sadly, in your past. Your future is a little bit different now, as we'll say. I'm just talking here because what we're looking at is a topic in concussion. I saw mention of concussion you suffered with your club, Alan Trubber, I believe, a few years back. Can you give me just some details of that particular incident?
Yeah, I remember it was 2012. We were playing Ballahadreen in a county final, and I think it was midway through the second half. The game was very evenly balanced. Just, one of these balls that, kind of fell a bit short, and I was overreaching to gain possession, and I got a knee into the side of the head. And I suppose from there, things went a bit, intermittent in terms of I probably didn't know where I was. I was a bit disillusioned, bit unstable, and, thought I was okay. I suppose, being the person out there, you don't want to admit that you're not okay, and especially in a final. But I remember the next 2 or 3 minutes after it, I got my breath, that my vision started to get impaired, a bit of cloudiness. And I had the next play, I was the free taker at the time, and I had an opportunity to kick the ball over the bar, but I remember dropping the ball onto my foot, but I couldn't actually see the posts, so they were moving magically. And at that stage, then I had to put my hand up and just say, "Listen, I'm not fit to carry on." But it was something that I wasn't aware of. I wasn't educated around it, and I suppose it's got huge focus now over the last number of years.
Yeah, and as I say, you describe some of the dizziness and the lack of focus. The eyes are actually the things that happen initially. It's very hard sometimes to actually find out what a concussion is in the early minute or two. Sometimes it can be 10, 15 minutes, it can be hours before all the complexities of concussion actually manifest themselves. And after that, I know you came off, then we'd say a few more minutes, you got the point. Did you win that game actually, as a matter of interest?
No, we got beat eventually. Yeah, well, we won for 3 in a row, but yeah.
Okay, not to where you got 2. Tell me, later on that evening, the following day, etc., etc., what were the aftermaths of that particular concussion for you?
to be honest, I was probably depressed for, probably a week after it.
Was that the result of the concussion? Was that the result?
I think it was a bit of both. I felt that, I was probably not really, responsive to any conversations or to any discussion. And I did have headaches, yeah. I remember, going home after the game, and I did have a crunching headache for a couple of hours after it. And I suppose very lethargic. I suppose them kind of symptoms come straight to mind after a game, especially from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, once again, typical symptoms as you talk. Where were you working at that stage, in 2012? Where were you working?
I was working in Allergan. I work for a pharmaceutical company here in Westport. They're one of the manufacturers of Botox, so it's a biological product. So we supply the world.
I was thinking you're looking good, all right. You're looking good. Tell me something.
Never age it.
Can you remember? Did you get to work the following day, or was there a gap of work missed or anything like that for a few days?
Yeah, well, I actually had to get. I think I got two stitches as well. I didn't attend work for around 2 days. So that was a combination of both.
Yeah, we're a lot more cognizant of that now. We follow protocols for those working students. We put a lot more in place. It wouldn't be really there in 2012. Moving on to your own, I said, your career is over. Are you still playing club football, Alan?
Yeah, I'm still involved. I retired last November. Yeah, so this has been my first year now integrating back into the club scene. So enjoying it. They're not letting me off that easy now, being away for so long. So
class is permanent, Alan. Class is permanent. Don't you worry. Tell me something. I can see media reports that you're actually considering running for the next general election, whatever that might be. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah. So it's been a busy couple of months. I suppose, listen, I've always represented Mayo, on a national stage, and I suppose the opportunity has arisen here now in the Mayo constituency to represent the people of Mayo in politics. So, Eddie Kenny, our former Taoiseach, is retiring, so there's a vacant seat in Castlebar. So, I suppose, listen, I'm getting involved in politics for the simple reason, you want to implement some sort of change, as little as it may be, potentially in Ireland, in society, or even in your community. So, that's something that I want to do. I want to affect change positively, and I'm really looking forward. I suppose I've been long enough given out or been sceptical about the political system, but I suppose being an activist now, it's just important to get out and meet the people and understand the issues and concerns. So it's a different lifestyle. I suppose it's something that it's not for everyone. You have to have a certain amount of characteristics. The one thing I have, James, is I have a thick skin. Especially for Mayo, you got to have a skin of we'll say a rhinoceros, or So listen, looking forward to it, and it'll be a big challenge.
Well, us Galways would have a lot to say about Mayo's and thick skins, but I won't get at the moment. Look, Alan, I had the pleasure of working with you for many years, and I wish you the very best in the endeavour to be elected. I think you'd be a very good addition to the Dáil. I'm going to go on to that in a second. And I'll ask you one favour. If you do succeed to please champion Concussion, that's in regards to recognition management to get to the major organisations, the sporting organisations that the government give a huge amount of money to, have no recourse for actually data collection for Concussion. We will get it in the inter-county scene and at the top levels of international rugby and in the FAI at the national levels. But the Junior C game back in Cullen, or the Junior D game out in Connemara, or even up there in the top of the mountains in Belmullet, if a concussion happens there, sadly, they're not reported. And we have a huge amount of problem with the follow-up. It's not just alone the concussion, it's the aftermath in relation to work. I have one guy on my books at the moment that had a very bad concussion on a Sunday, attempted to drive to Limerick and his work on Monday, had to stop after a while, get out and get a taxi back home because his eyes, the VOM system we call it, was actually disturbed. So I'm saying, and I sincerely hope, I've known you for many years, that you actually do be successful in your run for the Dáil as a TD Choctaw Dáil. But I'd ask you when you get there, because you had a slight experience in this, that maybe you can start working behind the scenes, work the government with the relevant sports people, that we can now get all the national sports to start taking this pretty seriously. There's a lot of kids out there, repeated concussions, lots of stuff happening. Thanks be to God, no fatalities. And hopefully that's going to exist. And I just say, like, I think if you get there with your background, I think it'd be hugely positive that we'd have a voice for concussion. Now, concussion to me, as I said to a professor from Harvard last week, it's a very overused and a soft word. It actually is a brain damage. And I'd like to just think that, effectively speaking, you can take on the mantle of our champion up in Dáil Éireann and win, and hopefully when you get elected. But you say, just for a second there, and I just want to run through 2 or 3 other things here. And we mentioned this last week as well, was resources for students out there. And I want the students, I've asked for this through Pat O'Neill, and we've tried to get this coordinated with the colleges, that everyone coming out of 4th year of athletic therapy, physical therapy, sports physiotherapy, you name it, everybody has to do a final exam as part of their final year's graduation and pass it practically and theoretically. So they're much more versed in what's happening on the field. We don't have a problem with the prevention part of concussion beforehand because it's a big field that's evolving, and the aftermath we're quite good at handling at the moment as long as we get it reported. The huge problem we have is leaving players on the field. It's been seen on national television over the last 20 years when lots of players stayed on and they shouldn't have played on. If you injure a hamstring and you kind of pull up, automatically nobody will stop you coming off. If you stay on, you'll injure an awful lot more. If you take a hit to the head and you go back on, and we know you've suffered a concussion, I've been overruled lots of times, so I know basically it's very, very difficult. I don't have the word of law I used to have in America. In America I could say, off he comes, that's it. Medical legal aspect, cover me. Ireland's much different, I can be overruled. If he takes a knock and I want to get him off, I don't have that power. What I do is I tell the ref, I think in my aspect he should come off. Or I tell somebody on the coaching staff, I want you to be a witness, I said he should have come off. Because it's the second hit that can be catastrophic. So we need to look at the law very carefully. As I said, resources last week when I talked to Dr. Michael O'Brien in Harvard, there are stuff out there to help these students out in the field. The first responders, I call them, they're there. They have a 2-minute decision to make. In soccer, the biggest one is this, the sports concussion assessment test, take over 10 minutes. I can't take any soccer coach in the League of Ireland. I take 10 minutes to take a test, he shoot me. I have 2 minutes to make my mind up. So we've got a lot of gaps there we've got to close. As I said, it's called SCAT5. You can Google this. It's free for all students to download and look at it. Sports concussion assessment tests. Very, very good there. There's also the Burden Concussion Statement 2016, our last updated statement on concussion. You can download that for nothing. And there's also a video that's excellent for 30 minutes on concussions, its aftermath, on open pediatrics by Michael O'Brien. And if you get that down, I think it'd be a very excellent thing too. As I say, Alan, you had one. You were lucky. I think you had a great career. I know you'd like to have Sam in your background there, but I don't think anybody can take away from the joy you brought to the people of Mayo. Your style was absolutely, I thought, unique, and you were always a very, very valuable player to the squad when I was up there. Alan, I wish you the very best of my sport. From Galway, we're over and out. Alan, thank you.
Thanks very much, James. Appreciate it.